You are watching or listening to Purham and Associates. For more information, go to www.rpurham.com. Hey, good day to you all. Welcome to Purham and Associates. I'm your host, Randy Purham. Hey, I hope y'all had a fantastic weeks thus far, and all is well in your world and all that good stuff. Weekend rather, and all is well in all is going well in your world and all that good stuff. We got my good buddy Tiffany with us this on this fantastic Monday, and we're gonna get into some stuff that happened last week. You know, we didn't get a chance to catch up last week. A lot of stuff was going on, as y'all know. If you follow me on social media, you know I was hella busy. Nothing new. But without further ado, we're gonna get right into it because we got a lot of stuff to cover. Tiff, what's crack-a-lackin'? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm living the dream, living the dream, living the dream. So, what's going on in your neck of the woods down there in on the West Coast?
Well, in Vegas, so it's always exciting in Vegas.
Yeah, yeah.
Always. So,
Anything of interest going on out there?
well, I'm working on a project. I'll tell you about that later. It's more of a creative project. It's not political. It's not anything that I normally do, but we're beginning to branch outside the box here, Randy, and see what's going on in
Hmm.
terms of talent.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So you're branching outside the box. Nothing political. Hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, if y'all know Tiffany, she is a woman of many talents, and she finds herself getting involved in stuff that you're like, okay, why that? And you have to like
Okay.
you have to get to know her, and she will get she's a woman of, like I said, a woman of many talents, and she has a lot of hobbies and interests, and so I'm curious.
Oh, okay. Well, I will go into a little bit. It has to do with emotional wellness, and we've talked about this uh,
Okay.
before,
Hmm.
prior episodes, I guess you would say. And it's just a very big concern now because everyone is suffering and can't really deal with the emotional trauma of what's happening now. So, I'm a person about solution and getting to the core issue of why things happen. And I thought it'd be great to just do a project of that and collaborate with some of my colleagues and associates on how we can serve our community.
Okay. Okay. That's
Mhm.
good. That's good.
Because, with the current climate, everybody is
Losing her damn mind.
really in fear. They are in
I say for you.
fear of the change. They're in fear of the change. They don't know what's going to occur. They
Yeah.
feel the devastation, they feel the destruction. But as I always say, with change comes destruction before the rebuild. So it's par for the course.
That's one way of looking at it. Yeah, I agree there. I agree there. And you know, mental health is very important, and I agree. You know, I kid and I joke about these things, to a degree, but it is a serious matter. And with that, we're in this weird space in time where you have social media influencers, you have media personnel, you have politicians even. They're espousing things and telling people to act a certain way and not realizing second, third order effects of those actions. And these people that are enacting these things that they're being told to do are not thinking about the second and third order effects of their actions. And so you got this calamity that's going on in society right now, and people like you that are genuinely concerned about our society and saying, you know
Which,
what?
let's just say, I don't think you're just as concerned as I am about it. I just want everybody to know. Let me preface that your concerns are not as intense as mine, but you are concerned. We know that. Oh no, no.
Nah. I have a different type of concern. I am a more of a
Okay.
faffle. I have a more of a faffle approach of a concern. but but outside of that, I am concerned about the way people go about doing things. Don't get me wrong. And so, with that being said, we we have to dial it back a little bit and teach people. And I shouldn't have to say this. We shouldn't have to teach people, but we have to teach people that just because things are not going your way in the social constructs that you think it should go doesn't mean that you have to act out in a violent manner, or go out and destroy property, or go out and parade and protest and all this kind of stuff. There's different ways of handling these things, and some people are failing to see that. And it's both on the left and the right. Don't get me wrong, but we're seeing it more prevalently so on the left. And I say that because this is what's trending right now on social media. And I will use this as an example. And this video right here, ladies and gentlemen, this happened. This is going on now 2 weeks, so it's a little, I guess you could say, antiquated, but it speaks to the point of what we're discussing right now. So, Tiff, I will get your thoughts on this on the back end, because you said you before I play this video, you say you're working on mental health and wellness, right?
Okay.
I'm going to hell.
Right. Basically.
Okay, we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about this in a minute.
Police in Texas have arrested a man accused of damaging multiple Tesla vehicles. The 33-year-old man was caught on camera ramming a parked Tesla with a mini four-wheeler ATV. Authorities believe he's behind a string of similar incidents across the city of Texarkana. They arrested him after spotting him riding that ATV. He's now facing felony criminal mischief charges.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown.
Okay. Mental health is your focus. Never mind. No. Anyways, so mental health. It contributes to a lot of things, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely. But we do have to put that in perspective and take account that there may be an issue of concern for mental health in that video, in those actions. I really am not quite sure why somebody would just go on a rampage and just run into the back of Teslas and then face felony charges. I mean, felony charges for running into the back of a Tesla.
Yeah.
And you're a black man at that.
Yeah. Shout out to E40. He's trying to make himself relevant. Oh, no, I'm sorry. My bad. I couldn't resist. Oh, man. Okay, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know who E40 is, he was a rapper back in the 90s. He was a heavy set rapper. Very good rapper. Good rapper. I was just cracking a joke. I'm not body shaming. I'm not. I am, but I'm not.
Oh my
It's Monday morning. I just don't care. So, but folks, I look, my man. I don't know if that was a. I don't know if he. I don't know what he was thinking about. I don't know what the rest of his friends were that may have been involved in his life. And I don't know if he told anyone he was contemplating doing this or that he was planning to do this. Somebody somewhere in his sphere, uh, should have said, "Hey, this is not a good idea. Don't go out there and do this." But then again, maybe he doesn't have anybody in his life of significance that would coach him otherwise. I don't know. We don't know. I just don't know. But just given the magnitude of what's been going on lately with the string of attacks on Teslas, and I don't know what Tesla did to anybody out there, but being here in Austin, and Tiffany, I'm sure you out there in Las Vegas, another liberal-driven city, and you have Teslas out there as well. And I understand that there's been a string of attacks on Teslas out of your neck of the woods as well. I don't know if these Teslas are waking up in the middle of the night attacking people, or they just they start but they drive around the neighborhood terrorizing people, and people are like trying to exact revenge back on them or something. I don't know, but they're saying that it's Elon Musk, and it's like, okay, at one point in time, you all were like, Elon Musk was your darling, and you all went out and bought these Teslas for the sake of climate change and everything else, and said, we're going to stand with Elon Musk in solidarity. You actually tried to force, through Congress at that, a couple of years ago, you tried to force Congress to force us as Americans to buy Teslas, and get rid of, our gas guzzling fuel trucks and stuff in cars to buy Teslas. And now it's burn every Tesla that you see and vandalize them and everything else. We have literally just crossed over into a mental paradigm shift in America, quite literally overnight. And
right.
Tiffany, you're working on mental health. Unfortunately, that's the only thing that you're working on in this domain.
Well, no, let me preface it by saying it's emotional wellness. I'm trying to get you
wellness. Yes,
well.
I'm sorry.
I'm trying to get you well. So I'm trying you to identify with yourself why you did what you did and look inside and then go from there. Externally, you can't do anything about it, and that's not the greatest approach. But when we look at inside ourselves, then we can. But clearly, this gentleman must be upset about something. And to be, I guess, because, and this is just an opinion, maybe because Elon Musk is now at the forefront, making decisions for the American people, it's now gone to another level. Before, when, you were advised to purchase a Tesla because of the environment, you were on the same team, that was good. But now we have him on the opposite team in the administration, making decisions that affect people's lives. And maybe that's just his way of handling his anger, per se. So we need to turn that around so that that you can handle situations that maybe are not what you think that they should be.
But Tiffany, let me ask you something. Why is it that people are upset though? Whether it's Elon Musk, whether it's Jeff Bezos, whether it's Mark Zuckerberg, whoever it is, it doesn't even matter. It could be a little munchkin from, Wizard of Oz. I don't care who it is. Why would they be mad at the person who says, "Hey, I'm going to sacrifice my time, my resources, and I'm going to help my country find the fraud, waste, and abuse that's going on in our government and expose the corruption and everything else and return, the money that's found back to the American people and help you save money and everything else. I have nothing personally to benefit from this, but I'm going to help you. And maybe I would have something personally to benefit from it. But in the light of it all, you have more to benefit from it than I would. Why would anybody be mad at this? it's like they're complicit. These people that are acting out against this, it's like they're complicit in the corruption. They're complicit in the fact that, oh no, you're exposing my people, my bosses, and my henchmen that are doing these things, and I may have been benefiting from it, and you're exposing them. And oh my God, now I need to retaliate. This is what I'm drawing. I'm drawing the conclusion of that, out of that. And so, talk to me, Tiff. Is that what we're dealing with here, or is these just mindless dummies that are out there just doing this because they were told to do so? I'm trying to figure it out. I'm literally am.
Yeah, I know. Well, again, once you're on one side of the fence and you're good, because you're good when you're saving the environment and everything. People are like, oh, Teslas are good and let's get an electric car. It's another thing when now you are on the side of the people, or on the side of the people that you think are doing the wrong.
Yeah.
So it changes the whole storyline. But again, and I agree with you, you were in agreement with helping the environment, but as soon as somebody came on a different team, now you're like, they're not as good. They want to do something differently for the people, but you didn't think that before.
Yeah.
And of course, the narrative changes, and you see that all the time. We just recently had those fires in the Palisades, Altadena, in California. I'm just trying to figure out where the environmentalists are there. They don't show up. Nobody shows up to say, oh, we just, destroyed all these trees that are part of the ecosystem that keeps us alive. I don't get that. I don't. You fight for something, but then yet when it's being destroyed, you don't show up for the cause. But maybe this is the way you should show up for the cause, is by literally going out and being angry and destroying property that's not yours, and then going to jail for it because now it's a crime.
Yeah, you're getting 20 years. You're getting 20 years behind bars.
20 years to just do that. Like,
and my thing is this. It's like, okay, fine. You wanna do this. You wanna act out, and you wanna firebomb Teslas and firebomb car dealerships and stuff like that. And you're being charged with domestic terrorism now, and all for what? To make a statement. Okay, cool. Now you have to think about this. Are the people that you're doing this for, are they gonna come to your aid? And what I mean by your aid is, are they going to come now take care of your family? Are they going to take care of your finances while you're away in prison? Are they going to take care of your, are they going to bail you out even? Are they going to help you restore your life after you get out of prison? No, they're not. So it's like, that's what I'm saying. You don't think about the second and third order effects of this. It's like, okay, you are a useless idiot, and you're doing all this for what? These people that's in government, they literally are saying, hey, we're trying to help find corruption. We're trying to help, expose all this stuff, and you want to attack us for it. Yeah, you ought to be in jail.
But that's the narrative you're talking about a narrative that people don't believe in the first place. It's
true. They don't believe it. And when for me, I'm like this. This is where I'm at with it. If you say that you don't believe it, but then when it's finally exposed, or when you're finally given the evidence of it, and you still push back against it, now you're crossing that threshold of you're just complicit with it. Now you're trying to defend you're trying to defend the corruption. So now you're guilty of it. You're just as bad. You're just as bad as the actors. And so therefore you probably should face prosecution too, because let's uncover what you got going on. That's where I'm at with it. And that's how it was. That's how it was in the military. It was like you see something, you say something. If you don't say something, and you see it, or you was a part of it, you're just as guilty, and you are charged accordingly. And for my brothers and sisters in arms, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you see somebody doing some dirt and you don't snitch, and you get and it's found out later on that you knew about it, you're just as in trouble as the next person, as the group that was doing it, whether you had anything to do with it or not. It was like, well, you knew about it, so you must have been complicit in it. You must have been the lookout guy. So there you go. You're getting charged for it just as well. And you're like, man, what? But I was just minding my own business. Now it was your business to stop it, and you didn't. So there you go.
Right.
And that's how
right.
it should. It is what it is. And so,
But I
yeah,
think people can't channel their anger in a positive way either. You have to be able to that has to be taught, to channel your anger in a positive way. If you're mad at the system, then you have ways of expressing yourself about that. You can vote, you can get involved in, some activist group or whatever that is that you want to do.
Whoa. They are already being activists. That's why they're doing this stuff.
Well, you know what I'm saying. It's like join a group, an organization where your voice could be heard, and you guys are believing in one cause. But to do it individually, understanding your background, your cultural background, and the consequences thereof, it's not going to do anything but fuel the inevitable. You were upset in the beginning. Now you're going to sit there for 20 years and be upset.
Yeah. And just
for no reason.
Yeah. And just imagine. I like to be a fly on the wall in the prison there. Hey, what you in for? It was firebombing Teslas. Domestic terrorism. What? Yeah, I was mad at Elon Musk. What?
Right. I believe this is part of that call to action that Janelle, you and I had talked about a while ago.
Yeah.
It's like, when are we going to stop taking these actions and doing something that may be more beneficial?
True.
And then, you know what? I believe this very strongly. If you can't help yourself, you can't help anybody else. So if you're wounded, how can a wounded person help another person? As they say, a hurt person hurts people, right?
That's very true. That is very
hurt
true.
Hurt people, right? So we need to get to a space,
a healthy space,
where we can definitely deal with the trauma. Because if you dealt with your trauma, then you wouldn't be so angry. Then you wouldn't have gone out possibly and destroyed the Tesla from the back end with your vehicle. So
that story alone, and I'm here in Austin, and there's a Tesla dealership about 20 minutes from me here, and I drive past it periodically when I'm on that side of town, and there's protests. There's been protests going on over there. And a couple of buddies of mine called me up and said that they was going down there to do the counter protest, for it and stuff. And I said, okay. And I'm not going down there because I was going to go at first. And I said, nah, I'm not going to come down there because I know me. Okay. And it's not going to end well. My counter protest is totally different than what they had in mind. It'd be totally. I'm be antagonistic, and it's gonna come to fisticuffs. I just know me, and I just I wasn't. I'm not in that space to engage and stuff like that. It's just like, what.
But see,
I'm a little bit.
That's the acknowledgement and the awareness.
Yeah, I'm aware of who I am. Yeah, exactly. The cops would be like, see, you already knew you was coming down here. Exactly. I'm gonna say I stayed away. See, but outside of that, the counter protesting that's going, the counter protesters, they're like, there to kind of like help defend and just kind of like shout back type of thing. Okay, that's fine. That's cool. But when you put it on the grand scheme of things, it's like, okay, you got the protesters that's protesting and stuff. I'll be of the mindset also of just capturing these people identities, like who are you, where did you come from, who funded you to be here, and all of that. And I will expose them in that regard. Watch what car they're getting into, capture their license plates. I would expose them in that regard. And then that would kind of like help quell and put a stop to all of that, because they'd be like, well, it's not right that they're doing this to us. It's not right that they're exposing us like this. We're just out here to voice our First Amendment right and our opinion. Yeah, but it's the way you're going about doing it. It's one thing to be, exercise
Right.
your First Amendment right, but you're out here trying to actually exact violence and everything else. So we're going to expose you, and that's something different. But I digress.
And there's a way to do everything. There is a way to do everything. We don't have to protest anymore. There's a way to take your resources and put them in a different place. You do not have to shop at the same place. You do not have to purchase items that are contributing to your anger, because you don't know.
Yeah.
Half of these corporations are doing some of the same things as what you're seeing that the government does.
Very
Business is business. I don't care what it is, a church, the government's business, everything is a business. And until you understand that, then you won't get the rest of this.
That's true. That's true. And the funny part, what you just said there is a lot of these folks that's out here protesting and riling against, Elon Musk and Teslas and everything else. They're not even thinking about, like, okay, who else is supporting these organizations or Elon Musk and Teslas and stuff like that? Should we be protesting them? Because it's not just a sole entity. So these other companies and stuff, they're like suckers, and they're just going about their business. And so I just think about that kind of stuff. Just like when a couple years ago when they was talking about boycotting the NFL, and it's like, okay, cool. And I posed this on Facebook. I said, okay, cool. We're gonna boycott the NFL. Why are we boycotting the NFL? Oh, we gotta stand in solidarity with Colin Kaepernick and kneeling and Black Lives Matter and everything. I said, okay, so we're gonna boycott everything associated with the NFL, right? Yeah, that's right. I said, okay, so that means all of the companies that pay, that sponsors the NFL. Wait a minute. Oh, no. Let's keep going. So all those stores that you shop at, the food brands, the clothing lines, we're boycotting everything, right? Because that's what feeds the NFL. It's not just the NFL. Yeah, the NFL is just a logo. At the end of the day, if you want to boycott the NFL, we got to boycott everything with the NFL. Oh, see, you're going too deep into this. No, you're an idiot. So, and I was getting blocked and everything else, because that's the reality. If you wanna do an economic boycott, do an economic boycott, and that means that you're gonna suffer in the process too, because now you're gonna do without what you're used to having. But people are not ready for that conversation.
Right.
People are not ready for that conversation.
You're an influencer. You're going to have to rely on the sponsorship of other companies. So
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So you're going to boycott. And like I said, there's always a way to accomplish what you want to accomplish. It's just that there's just so many things that they're unfolding, and the lies that have been told that are being uncovered, and then they've been defined as conspiracy theories and other things.
Yeah.
And so other people are not going to, because the authorities are telling them, people in these professions, don't believe the hype. If you believe in us,
yeah, they don't.
Believe in the government, you believe in media, you believe in whatever that is, we're the ones who tell you what to do. You don't have a voice. You can't even think.
Yeah, they don't. They don't. And on that one last point about the NFL boycott, I say, you think about this. If you want to implement a actual economic boycott against the NFL, who do you think you're actually going to hurt in the long run? It's going to be the players. And what's the predominant race of the players in the NFL? The black folks. So it's like, what are we doing here? But okay, I'll play your silly game.
Just think about it.
Yeah, it cracks me up. And same thing with Target recently. They wanted to black out Target. And it's like, okay, you want to black out Target because they decided that they don't want to be part of the DEI programs anymore. Okay, how many people, ladies and gentlemen, let's analyze this real quick. real quickly.
Yeah,
I don't want to spend too much
that's a
time on
good
this.
one. That's
Yeah,
a good one.
I don't want to spend too much time on this because it was actually stupid. It's like how many
But we
people
had to
actually?
talk about DEI.
Yeah. Well, how many people actually were affected by Target's DEI program? It wasn't that many to begin with, and it was small business
No.
owners who were actually just putting their products into Target as a way to segue into the market space because of being a small business owner. They just kind of like got an exclusive contract, not necessarily because they were of the DEI nature or because they were a minority per se. It may have been a part of that, but it wasn't exclusively because of that. So by the fact that Target rolled back their DEI program did not necessarily mean that they were excluded from, they lost their contracts and stuff like that. So you got the other side, the consumer base that took that and ran with it and said, "Oh, we're going to boycott Target now." So now the people that got these contracts, they're losing business because that consumer base is not buying the products because they're refusing to go to the store. And so Target is like, "Hey, your products are still sitting on our shelves. It's not moving because this consumer base is not shopping here right now. So guess what?
Right.
Eh,
We're gonna
bye."
pull the product.
Yeah, bye. See ya. Sorry,
And,
and
yeah.
it's like so I came on Facebook and it was Facebook and on X and I asked one simple question. I said, at the end of the day, how many of you actually, instead of shopping at Target, how many of you actually just go directly to the seller and buy from them directly? Because if you buy from them directly, they're not paying Target, the retail value, the retail sales and the stocking fees and all that kind of stuff. You're actually buying directly from them, and that money is going directly in their pocket. How many of you are doing that? How many of you are actually going to their website and patreon their business through their website? Crickets.
No, and absolutely, I agree with what you're saying. And
Yeah.
here's the thing with the DEI program.
Mm-hmm.
DEI, first of all, I have clients that, have products, and I have a client right now who is she sells wine, so beverages, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Seltzer wine beverages. And we both always advise people, first of all, if you're a black brand, do not pigeonhole yourself and position yourself as a black owned brand. Because guess what?
True.
More than black people are going to buy your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And who cares if you're black or not? If the person likes it, they're going to purchase it, period.
Yep.
So
Yep.
don't go out there and say, wave the flag of I'm a black owned business. It's great if you're in your own community. But once you step out of your community and you're in the Walmart industry,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
circles of Walmart, Target, and any other major company that distributes your product, you don't need to say that.
Yep.
You are just providing a product
Product
for
or
other
service.
people to buy.
Yep.
And quite frankly, what was it all about? Was it about we have to bring up affirmative action, because remember, affirmative action was quite equivalent to DEI.
Mm-hmm.
Affirmative action, some people did benefit from it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were those who didn't really benefit at all. That was just the token poster child of the company to say, hey, we now have this person in our company.
Yeah.
But how many people really benefit from it, from being there, and really actually having someone see you based on your merit and not the color of your skin?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Like, how many, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
well, this DEI, of course, is going to get pulled because it's not benefiting the whole
whole market. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
The whole market. There you go.
That's the thing, and you're absolutely right. Don't pigeonhole yourself into saying to branding yourself as being a black-owned business, veteran-owned. I'm on the fence with the veteran-owned. It's like, okay, we get it. You transition from a service, and you're now getting into the entrepreneurial realm. Okay, fine, but even then, still, it's kind of like, be careful. Like not everybody cares about veterans. Let's be real here, and I've seen that firsthand. So, but you're right. You don't necessarily have to be an exclusive label to your business to attract customers. If you got a good product, put it out there and shut up.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right. Nobody has
and
to
keep it
know
moving. Yeah, and keep it moving.
anything else about you.
Yeah, that's been a problem with a lot of businesses, and a lot of businesses wonder why they failed or they're not attracting the business they should be attracting, is because that is something that has hindered them. Is you got all these labels on there, and it's a turnoff. It's like, oh, you're a black owned business, so I guess you're only catering to black people. Okay, let me just keep moving.
Right.
Or Asian owned business or Jewish owned business or whatever the case is. It's like, oh, I guess you only cater to these people. Okay, fine. I'll just keep moving and go somewhere else because I might not be welcomed here. And that may actually be some people's perception of that. You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're right. Just keep the labels off of there and provide your product or your service and go from there. Great advice.
You
Great
created
advice.
you created the business to make money. So
yeah.
make the money with everybody, including all people. You want to be inclusive? Include all people.
Exactly. Yes. Now, speaking of DEI hires, no, I'm just kidding.
I think I know where you're gonna go.
We got Jasmine Crockett. She's been another one that's ladies and gentlemen. I'm not calling Jasmine Crockett a representative. Excuse me. I'm not calling Representative Jasmine Crockett a DEI hire, although she's acting like one. But I'm not calling her one. So don't get out there on social media saying Randy's calling the Representative Crockett a DEI hire. No. However, she's been under fire lately for just running her mouth, and so I want to get your thoughts on this gentleman. His name is Sholodon Daniels. Ladies and gentlemen, I did not look too much into who he is, his background, or anything like that. I'm going to make the presumption here that he is a Democrat that's preparing to run against her in the primaries. That just off the surface of what he's talking about and the messaging that he's doing. So, Tiffany, I want to get your thoughts on what he's saying here, and we're going to get into it because I found what he said to be like, ooh. So, here we go.
30 absolutely deserve more than what they're getting from Jasmine Crockett. But here's the deal about Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett didn't get elected based on any past show of successful results. She's never, ever been successful in any leadership role that she's ever had, ever. Okay? Before she came to Dallas County, and this is just now being uncovered, before she came to Dallas County, she was in Bowie County, Texas, which is a rural part of East Texas, right? And I don't know how she landed in Bowie County, right? Because I'm from Grayson County, not too far from Bowie County. I know what the people are like there, and how she ended up there, I don't know, but we will be investigating that as well. But she was appointed, or she talked her way into becoming the party chair for the Democratic Party out in Bowie County. Now, part of being the party chair is being able to organize the county, right? And get all the Democrats together and appoint precinct chair, all these things. Jasmine, her performance at just carrying out basic party chair duties was so abysmal, right? That they had to politely invite her to step down. So she got fired from her very first leadership job in politics at the county level. Then she pops up in Dallas County all of a sudden, and she's this Democrat Party darling. She's well funded, right? She's taking pictures with Soros. And, and now we're finding that all these so-called grassroots donations that she amassed over these past few years are actually not from people even in our district. The people who they are alleged to have come through don't even know about these donations. And so where did the money come from? Who's funding her? And does this explain why she's on Capitol Hill behaving this way? The word around DC right now is that even within the Democratic Party, Jasmine Crockett is kind of not taken very seriously as a legislator. She's not going to be able to get any laws passed. She's not going to be able to get anything done. And so the only thing she has left to do to be able to fundraise, to be able to keep her name out there, are these antics.
So the more she acts a fool, the better it is for you. So is this why she is nicknamed Jasmine Crash Out Crockett?
Absolutely, because that's all she can do is crash out. And also that's who she panders to, is those who just want to crash out with their life. Those who are hopeless, those who are apoplectic about the entire process in general, those who would rather go wait in line for the new Jordans than go wait in line to vote. These are the people that Jasmine Crockett appeals to.
Mm. You're singing music to my ears. I find it fascinating because a lot of her antics, it's heavy on the race baiting.
I was like, damn. my my bro, he just roasted her like a rotisserie chicken. He's just like,
Well,
is it done on
I
this side?
think, right. I think he brought the truth to the situation. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, in that party, you have a lot of people. I won't say a lot, but you have people that really don't do their job. And it
true.
doesn't matter what culture you are. It's like, we do have a constitution, we the people, for the people, by the people. Okay, now, if you're not in any way, shape, or form committed to really helping the people, then why are you there? Because, I
Hmm.
mean, in terms of what he's saying, she's just there for entertainment and basically just, and appealing to the people who are not thinking,
Yeah,
that just like to be entertained and don't think about the consequences and don't help their communities, not trying to get them, uh, further them in their own communities. And it's really sad to see that.
hmm,
And it's unfortunate,
yeah,
not just because you're black and you're a Democrat doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be best suited for that position. There could
true.
be a Hispanic, there could be an Asian, there could be, and I saw that in California. Now, I'm not going to say that they're not that, that on that side that they're not good people. There are very good people on that side too, as well, that want to create change for the people based on their own experiences.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
let's do it on your experience, your merit, not because you say something, you act a certain way,
Yeah,
and you act according to a large group of people. And see, this is what I'm talking about, emotional wellness, because a lot of people are still going through drama. They don't even
hmm,
realize that they could use their voice for something positive.
yeah,
Like, look
yeah.
at what's happening. How do you want to change what's going on in your culture, in your community?
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
and
True.
then let's work from there. The power, and realistically, no one believes the power that they actually have to make the changes. And I think that's what this is
That's key.
occurring in our
That's key.
administration. They're like, look, let's draw back the curtain. Let's show you what it really is. And then you can make your own decisions based on what you see. Maybe you might want to join the conspiracy theory people, or you could join the people that are telling the truth. Which one is on you?
Hmm. Hmm.
But these things are coming up because they need to be addressed.
Yeah,
They
you're
need to
absolutely
be
right.
addressed. I mean, I was looking at YouTube or something online, and they're talking about FICO scores, how, Trump is trying to raise FICO scores. If you look at the stuff that he's trying to do, he's really trying to help certain communities that
Hmm.
have been cast out,
Yeah, yeah.
can't get mortgages, high interest rates. I mean, look at all
Hmm.
of it.
Yeah, you're right.
So, I mean,
You're
don't
right.
look at the man himself. Look at what he's bringing to the table and what he's able to, expose.
Hmm.
You've been crying about this for years. Now the time has come, and now you're thinking that it's not here.
Hmm. Yeah, you're right. And to Mr. Daniels' point there, you know, he's absolutely right. A lot of people are, like they have this voter apathy. They're like they don't care about what's going on in politics, and so when it's time to vote, they either don't show up to vote, or if they do vote, they just check the box and they keep it moving. They look at the name recognition, or they look for name recognition, or they look for that first sign that they see at the polling locations. That's why it's key to have your name, your sign at those polling locations, because most people don't pay attention to politics, but they feel like they're doing their civic duty to go vote but they don't know stuff about politics, and so they just go and they just check the name on a ballot and they keep it moving. And this is how we get, people like Jasmine Crockett in office. And to his other point, maybe she is well funded by Soros and everything else. And you got these small dollar donations. We already know about Act Blue and how they've been funneling money from donors or from people that's allegedly donors, but they're not donors because they're like, I don't donate to anybody, so I don't know how my name got on that register. And so they've been doing some nefarious things to make it look like these certain people are donating to these candidates when they're actually not. So money is coming in from somewhere. Now, is that how people like her are getting into office? I'm quite sure, possibly, maybe, I don't know. But there's a twofold process there. There's the money aspect of it, and then there's that voter apathy, voter ignorance aspect of it. That she's getting elected, and she's going out there and she's saying all these reckless things that people are paying attention to, and they're like, who is she representing? District 30. Who is in District 30? And it's like, oh, that's the Dallas area. And they started, so now the greater, map is looking at District 30, and they're like, oh, it's those people. And the people in District 30 are like, why is everybody looking at us all crazy? And it's like, this your girl. Y'all voted for her. No, she don't represent me. Nah, too late. That's your representative, And so now it's spurning this anxiety of, you're guilty by association. So now they're putting up somebody saying, no, this guy here this is who we want to represent us. And I've seen the same thing down here in Austin, with Greg Kassar in District 35. He's running around now. He's trying to change his tune. He's trying to change up his strategy because for the longest time, he hasn't been representing the people in Austin. He's been campaigning on immigrants first and how I'm going to take care of the illegals and make sure they get through the process and everything else. It's like, you swore an oath to the Constitution of the United States, not to illegal immigrants and not to Mexico. So what are you doing, guy? And you look at his voting record, it's bleak. Like, quite literally, he had submitted 8 bills in the 4 years that he's been in office, and none of them got anywhere. So it's like, okay, it's time for you to go, guy. And she may be facing the same thing. And so I say all this to say this, that, ladies and gentlemen, you have to be very, very educated on what your representatives are doing in office, because they sit there and they, do the rah, 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 at your town halls and everything else. They say you this glamorous picture on commercials and stuff. Oh, well, this person did this, and this person donated that, and this person, signed this legislation, and this and that and the third. And then you go to actually look at their voting record, and you go to congress.gov and you type in their name and you actually look at everything that they did, and it amounts up to a hill of beans. It's like nothing. And it's like, okay, come November, your ass is out of here. Because what's going on here? Like, what you been doing? Like, seriously. And that's how you hold your elected officials accountable, is you actually look at their record and you talk to your neighbors. You stand out there at the polling locations and you say, hey, you ain't got to tell me who you're voting for, but just understand the person that's on that ballot at the third line, yeah, they're garbage. So don't vote for them, because I know you're going to go in there and vote for them. Don't vote for them. And here's why. You can do that, and they'd be like, oh, okay, thanks for letting me know. I didn't know that. Yeah, I know you didn't know that because you was about to go in there and vote for them. So, you got to be to your point, you got to be an activist. You have to be.
You do.
Engaged.
You have to advocate
be
for what you believe is advocate for what you believe is right. And like I said before, I think all people, who are campaigning or want to come into office, do the right thing for the people. We the people, for the people, by the people. That is really where it is, for the people, because the people are I believe that people are very intelligent. I just don't think we use it all the time, our intelligence. And if God gave it to you, Jehovah gave it to you, whoever you believe gave your intelligence, and you believe, and I will say this because this is where I'm going to go with this one, and you believe that Jesus Christ died on the cross for your sins, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You should believe and left the power to you after he transitioned, then you got the power to think intelligently. That's what I'm going to say on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you failed to use it, so you abdicated your power and you let the devil have it. And look where we at now. Tiffany, final thoughts. we're the bottom of the hour, you know. It's
Well, again, we talked about change before. We talked about the change in the administration, and everyone's talking about what's not being done correctly, or look at what we're dealing with. We are resilient. We will get past this. But I think what we need to do is just do our own research, educate ourselves to what is going on and what we need for our families and ourselves individually. And whoever's in office, see if they align with that. But please just don't go off the radar thinking that you don't have the power to change anything, because you do. Your voice is very critical, and there are lots of entities that are telling you that you don't have it, but you do. You need to use it. That's what I will say. And embrace the change. The changes are here to make it better for us. And that destruction has to happen before the rebuild. We've seen it before. We are resilient. We'll be able to go through it again and get to the other side. Just be intelligent, about how you are thinking about yourself and your family.
Amen. Absolutely. Tiff, thank you.
I got an amen on that one.
Words cannot be spoken any wiser, and I appreciate that, because you're absolutely right. Appreciate you, and I will see you soon. And be safe out there, and talk to you later.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Have
absolutely.
a great day and
You
week.
too. Yes, thank you. You too. Be safe out there. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right, bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, Tiffany Jones. Hey, words of wisdom, ladies and gentlemen. Words of wisdom. This is what we're about. Is just telling the truth. Unafraid, I guess you could say unabridged. Just putting it out there. Just putting it out, telling it like it is. And it is what it is, folks. Some folks don't like the way I put things. I'm sorry. I'm real. I'm not AI. I'm not I'm not any of that stuff. So I'm just a raw Randy. Sometimes I try to filter myself. Sometimes I try to be diplomatic about how I say things. But in the moment, it is what it is. Sorry, not sorry. All right, folks. Hey, I hope you all have a fantastic week, the remainder of the week. I hope to see you all on Friday. God willing, God bless. If not earlier in the week, it just depends on what's going on in my schedule. I haven't even looked at my calendar yet for the week. I know I got a couple of things to do tomorrow. Be hanging out at the Capitol tomorrow. So if I see you up there, hello. If not, hello anyway. All right, folks. I will catch you all later. Be safe out there. God bless you all. And don't do anything crazy. And holla, holla. Be safe. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in today. Please be sure to follow, like, subscribe, and share. And go to rpurham.com for more information. See you all soon. Take care. God bless.